All right, so because my comment section is probably exploding on the previous video with anti-feminists, because we touched a little bit upon this movie getting some heat in the what do you say, the blogosphere or the internet on YouTube of people that are hating on feminism and feminists. And I just don't see the feminist elements in this movie.
I don't either. Other than having a female
Or
protagonist.
calling it feminist propaganda, I don't get it.
Yeah, other than having a female protagonist, this is not feminist propaganda whatsoever.
Are they just simply upset because Furiosa is on the same level as Mad Max? And she helps him so much? What's wrong with being helped from time to time? I don't understand. There's one scene in the movie where Mad Max is firing a sniper rifle, and not every fucking dude is a good shot. Just, we can admit that. Not every hero is Hawkeye. You know, Captain America can't probably shoot as well as Hawkeye, but so Furiosa comes over and helps him out, and I thought that was awesome. And she was a little smarter about it. She kind of used his shoulder to, together they were able to take out a fucking, basically what is a tank, a Cadillac tank. One of the reasons you need to see this movie. A Cadillac tank that's wasting bullets because it's the governor of Bullet Town and he doesn't give a shit, right? Oh, I just don't understand where people
and
are
it makes sense in context of the story because she was supposed to basically be the warlord's right hand. These emperators are his right hand people.
Yeah, I think
it makes sense that she's good with weapons, more so than Max.
It's really sad to me that if you get a female character and she's on the same level or badass or can fight it out with the dudes, the first thing people turn it into is that feminist propaganda or am I an MRA and you're trying to warp the minds of real men? Well, it's so stupid. Just fucking take it for what it is. Yeah, there are women who are badass shots. There are women who can fight it out. Have you heard of Gina Carano? Have you heard of Ronda Rousey? Have you heard of these different people who devote their lives to it? And I'm sure Furiosa devoted her life to becoming a weapons expert, to becoming a ruthless motherfucker. Because if she got this position, trust me, she's done some fucked up things, which is one of her side storylines of redemption. She's had enough. She's going to help out these brides who no longer want to be there and get her to an area that she knows that they'll protect them.
Yeah, it's probably just the social media stuff and everything. I mean, did you hear about any of this crap when the movie Aliens came out or any of that stuff? When you had Ripley and the powers.
Nobody talks shit about Ripley. Nobody. And that's what it is. It's just the current events that's stuff and I don't know. It's just sad to see, but look, I'm reading this blogosphere. I don't even want to give this blog name, but they're pissed off because of the fact that it was marketed with Tom Hardy and Mad Max, and they wanted to see Mad Max leading the charge and do the majority of the fighting. But no, it's Theron that does the majority of fighting, and it's a huge surprise to him. And they think that they're ruining nearly every potential good action flick with forced female characters or unnecessary romance subplots to eke out that extra 3 million in female attendees. That is the most. This is the most. This, you know what? This is satire. It has to be satire. It has to be, the trollish kind of satire that wants to get reactions to it.
If
because
you look at
she's
Road
not
Warrior,
forced.
I mean, look at Road Warrior. How many fucking women were in Road Warrior? It was almost not the same movie, but it was along that same vein. It was in Road Warrior. Mad Max was saving children and women and children, and in this one, he's saving women and children.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm one of the most critical people in the world, and I love picking things apart and pointing out things.
Did she feel forced to you? Was she a forced feminist propaganda
She's not forced. I can understand she was the basis for the story and everything, and honestly, I said it in the previous video, I don't know how this is feminist because I honestly, when I saw that scene, I before I even knew about this stuff, I was like thinking to myself.
I told them right at the end. I really shouldn't have given it.
I was gonna say, holy shit, people are gonna freak out in the opposite argument and say this is sexist towards women because they're strapped up to milking machines and stuff. Yeah. I thought that was gonna be what we were talking about.
Right.
Was all this. Degrades women and all their property and stuff, but for the opposite argument, I don't really understand that.
No, I think what it is what probably happened is a lot of feminists love the film. And then if MRAs see feminists are liking something, automatically that film is bad and you shouldn't see it. Even if it is possibly one of the most badass machismo films of all time. Because this movie is so fucking awesome, you need to see it. And why do feminists like it? Well, because it shows off that, girls don't always have to be, one of those brides that were treated like that. There is Furiosa, who becomes their champion, who becomes their hero and helps them out. And I think that, the MRAs or whatever you call them, I don't know these days, and we're mad about that storyline, that subplot. But honestly, we've had 3 Mad Max films, okay? And this is a completely new story by the original writer. Yeah. We got George Miller here. He's not some feminist mouthpiece, okay? If you enjoy, and then everybody's like, "Fuck this film! I like the old Mad Maxes." It's like the same guy wrote. It feels like the same Mad Max. The same guys fucking wrote it, and it's just.
And there was no forced romance. I hate that in movies, guys. I'll tell you straight up. I hate forced romance in movies. I hate when it's a badass action film.
There was no romance in this movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so there was one character that we forgot to talk about in the main one. I think his name was like Nux or Nug or something like Nux. And he was a war dog, and I thought his character was fucking awesome. Or war boy. I keep calling them war dogs. I thought his character was fucking awesome. And because he lives in a world where it's all fueled by war, aggression, fighting, religion, warriors, and stuff like that. Even his friends are kind of dicks to him, Yeah. And then finally, when somebody shows him a little bit of kindness and love, he's like, okay. And so he kind of snaps out of this sort of.
They never even had a romance. Like they didn't kiss. They didn't really touch or anything.
Exactly.
It was a mental type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. He just saw a different side of the coin, and he said, those guys are that whole fucking thing is kind of bullshit. Why don't I fucking help out here? Because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it wasn't forced, and you could tell in a lot of shows where they. Devote I guess the best example is a lot of superhero shows, for example, I have issues with on TV. They force love stories, like in Ultron. They force a love story and
between
this sucks. And you're like, just go back to punching each other or something. But no, they didn't do that.
Not at all. And I can understand criticism if they did, but they didn't. I mean, it would have been so easy for Mad Max and Furiosa. Like the typical Hollywood bullshit would have been like, fucking making out, them ending up some sex scene that's all like, oh, let's put some chains in there because it's post-apocalyptic.
There's dust everywhere.
Dust everywhere, all over her boobs and her body. No, they don't fucking do that. They don't really even touch each other. He helps save her life towards the end.
They punch each other.
They punch the shit out of
They punch the shit out of each other.
Yeah, they fight. So, I mean, that's as close as they come to sexual tension there.
No, I never felt a romance between them. I felt companionship.
Friendship,
like they were partners.
Yeah.
Not that they were lovers.
And they needed each other to get out of this fucked up situation.
The story was basically the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even then, they didn't trust each other for the first half of the movie. Max never took his gun off of him for the first hour of the movie. He's like, I'm going to shoot this woman. I'm going to shoot this woman. You better do what I want. And she's like, oh, whatever. And so, that was the basis of friendship. They never, were just, staring longingly into each other's eyes like, I want you because we're in the post-apocalypse. They're like, oh, you're going to shoot me if I don't do this. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? What else can we talk about in the movie that we thought was awesome?
Just the different types of cars, the different types of vehicles.
Yeah.
Because every faction had its own style.
Had its own vehicles.
The war rig was really cool.
Yeah, the war rigs were awesome. Yeah. I really like the Sand People spiky cars.
Me too.
They were
because
cool.
and then it had a function too, because in this world, people are gonna climb all over over your cars. The spike ones are put on there specifically. You climb on my car, you're getting fucking tetanus. Spiked. And tetanus. Yeah. So
it made sense.
They all had purpose to them, and it was really cool. So, and the way they fought each other with the fucking spears,
the
brought it back to this medieval kind of age but yet they were still explosions and guns and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought, like I said in the previous video, we talked about the ending, like the movie never getting to that.
Okay, yeah.
climax
So
part.
spoilers. Let's talk about that. We reach Okay, so they escape with his brides.
Yep.
They fucking give chase him down. Which Jesus Christ, this guy must love that pussy or something because he takes. I have no. His whole war band. I mean, you'd think some guys would be like, "What the
Well,
fuck
he
are we
takes
doing?"
his war band, his brother's war band,
and his other brother's war band. So Bullet Town is there with all their soldiers. Fucking Gastown is all there, and his guys, all because he lost his prostitutes or his would-be
favorite
brides.
Yep.
Not prostitutes, but who knows? Maybe he
Well,
does.
it's because he wants the best women to
Breeders.
produce his
Oh yeah,
terror.
they say all because they steal his breeders.
His
you know,
breeders. Yeah.
as if he couldn't find more breeders.
He was
or
trying to
whatever.
get an unmutated baby.
Yeah,
That was his
that's what he
entire
wanted.
purpose. Was he wanted to
Oh,
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
that boom blew my mind. There's a lot of subtlety to this movie, and that actually is kind of a mark of a good movie. That not everything is explained explicitly, and now it makes total sense, Dale, because he's covered in mutations. And he wants his son to be perfect, and so he must have combed through all those people, found all the most beautiful women who are untouched. And that's why they're so precious to him, because
untouched women in this world that
is
aren't
so-
radiated or anything is a huge
and they all have like
commodity.
these chastity belts with these like fucking teeth on them, so that if there's any grody guys that try to rape them, their dicks get like cut off or something.
They even
he
do
would
the-
kill them if they tried to do that.
They
to
do
him.
the part with the dead baby, and he even asks, is he perfect? And the doctor straight up tells him no mutations, everything would have been a perfect boy.
Oh, right.
He just chucks the baby because.
So what happened is eventually one of the brides who is with his child, as they're trying to escape, unfortunately succumbs to his careless war dogs chasing them down. She falls off, apparently gets run
Run over
over,
by a monster
but she's
truck.
still breathing enough to where they could possibly give birth. They cut her open because clearly doesn't give a shit about anything, just wants his child, but his child's dead. But even so, his brothers are like, I had a perfect brother.
They make a point of saying he wasn't
It's
mutated.
perfect,
Yeah.
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was what was so precious about it. Well, that just gives even more context to the movie that I like. Okay, so what we were saying though is, as they're escaping, they are trying to reach this Garden of Eden or this green place or whatever, which apparently was controlled by the female faction, the Mother of Mothers, or what was it? What are they called? The Volvani or the
Viavani or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And they're like farmers with a bunch of plants and green and trees and everything. But it turns out they drove right past it. And the reason why is because the land is poisoned with crap water. It's muck. And the trees have died, and there is no green place. And so eventually they reach what must be a dead ocean, where there's like a salt, or they were talking about salt.
Plains.
Yeah.
Salt plains, which would take them days and days, 160 days or something
It's a
across.
giant desert, yeah.
It's just a giant desert of hopelessness. And when Furiosa gets there, and they tell her that everything's gone, and there's only like 8 mother of mothers left.
Yep.
And she just falls in the sand and screams out, and it was filmed really nicely, and it just shows you the hopelessness of the world. And so Dell, I guess, wanted them to get to a fucking badass garden and fight some more dudes, and then fight back, have a bunch of female Amazonian warriors coming down and fighting the dudes or something.
I wanted the warband to get wiped out. That's what I thought it was bringing up to.
All
Because
3 warbands.
No, they didn't get wiped out. They got blocked at the pass, and then the boss fight I thought was kind of really anticlimactic because she's just like, in your face, rips his face off, that's it. I was like, man, he's got like power fucking armor on, he's got that mask.
He was an old dude, Dell. What the fuck? It wasn't power armor. He's fragile. Dell, were you not paying attention?
I was.
The guys were having to help the dude get up.
But
and,
then he was
and
walking
he's
around
not
on his own and everything.
No,
and he's like,
come
He
fine.
reminded me a lot.
His death was fucking awesome, in my opinion. It really
think-
was.
I liked it, and it wasn't power armor. It was protection stuff because his skin was all fucked
I
up.
don't know what it was. It looked like
Anyway,
reminded
so there's no payoff. I'm sorry. There's no
that's
payoff there towards the end with like Amazonian warriors fighting them, and Dell was a little pissed off. He's like, "What? We're gonna go back?" And so they have to go back and take over his fucking kingdom. And we're like an hour and something into this movie. I'm like, yeah, it's like Mad Max Fury Road 2 started at the end of Mad Max Fury Road 1. And I was glad that the movie was on the long side. I was like, yeah, let's go see him fuck up the kingdom. But all they really needed to do, because the guy was so desperate, he drove all his fucking troops out to grab this, was break through that blockade where they're chasing him. And once they get through there, once they get to the main one, his property is pretty much controlled by war boy children, and maybe a few soldiers, but not very many, and then tons of people. So there's this thing that's like, man, they could fucking revolt if we don't have somebody to lead them. They show up with dead Joe, just kick him out the thing, and then Furiosa shows up, Mad Max shows up, and all the brides, and they're like, just let him on, and then they release the water, and it seems like they're gonna try to be more fair to the people. I thought that was a great ending. I thought that it made sense that there wasn't some Deus Ex Machina or something. It's like, oh, we're all happy now and the world is saved.
Yeah, it was a fucked up ending, kind of. It was the best case scenario ending. But then I also liked the final scene of Max just kind of walking away.
Oh yeah, I was like, are they doing Dark Chronicles of Riddick here, where he inherits an empire, and they're like, and then the next movie there has no empire anymore, and it's all fucked up. And I was like, no, god damn it, I want to see Riddick control the necromongers. But in this movie, he's like, no. Throughout the whole movie, he's been talking about, I'll make my own way, I'll make my own way. But he decided to help them out because he knew that they're not going to make it across that salt plain. He went to help them again and put them out. And then once he helped install Furiosa in power, essentially himself, by saving her, because she got so fucked up doing a lot of the fighting, he gives his blood to her. And then he just kind of fades away in the crowd like he's one of the people. And it's like, that shit's awesome. Because the next movie... That's Mad Max. Yeah. He's a loner in the next movie. Except for his dog. I hope he gets his dog in the next movie. I want to see him.
His car got blown up.
Yeah, but he'll get a new one.
Yeah, but he always was. I thought he was going to get his car back. He was like, that's my car. That's my car.
I thought he was.
Oh, yeah, me too. Me too. I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, the Interceptor gets crushed. Yeah, and I'm just like, no, you can't do that to the Interceptor.
Yeah, but I really hope they do another one. And they don't have to include Furiosa, and the brides, because he's out on his own. Now, maybe Furiosa will show up, Mad Max is in trouble, and then she brings an army or something like that. She brings her own war band.
I really like how the movie ended because, number one, no sequel bait.
No sequel bait.
If this was the only movie that they ever made again of Mad Max, it'd be perfect.
It's complete. I love movies that are complete fucking story and don't sequel bait. Yeah. There's nothing at the end of the credits, nothing. It's just boom, here you go. Yeah. And enjoy this fucking story. And
they left it open to where another one could happen, but it doesn't have to.
Yeah. Yeah. And so there were so many badass scenes, so many... I mean, if you want to talk about, this is feminist propaganda and they're just basically pandering to women to get them in the theater, I don't think so, because for God's sake, dudes climb out of the car and they spit fucking gasoline in the engine intakes in order to go faster and turbo boost. And they start spitting and having a spitting match like a fucking pissing match. Like they're pissing into the engines to make them go faster.
This is probably the manliest movie I've seen since fucking 300, okay?
Yeah, and so if women enjoy this, we should say yes, fuck yes. If feminists all around the world are like, yeah, this movie's badass, and they'll be like, welcome to our world, and let's see a lot more of these movies, because the effects were awesome, the cars were awesome, the world was awesome. I would prefer for a slightly more climactic story, like Del was saying. Yeah. You could still do it with the brides, but I don't know. I just don't know. What would you add in there that would have made it
some sort of cataclysmic triggered event or something to kill the entire war bands that were following?
Oh, you wanted all the war bands.
Because let's be completely honest, the war bands could get back together and go fuck up that entire city. Because there were still like 60 or 70 cars with a couple hundred dudes on them, and they just left them there. And I was like, well, how are you going to retake the city?
Oh, shit! Good point, Del. What the fuck? I completely forgot. Yes, they blew up Immortan Joe and his big ass fucking boss brother or son, and and his big rig. No, the big rig survived.
Well, they killed the other two brothers.
Yeah, but
killed
even
the other
still,
two
they had,
leaders.
They're all leaderless.
So
now.
they're leaderless. I guess that's what they're trying to say is that they wouldn't organize and come back. But maybe that could be the sequel. I don't know.
No, there were times where like the war boys were fighting each other for power. Like that one time where he's like, "I'm in charge of the V8 now" and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to just be like, "Okay, nobody will take charge," is bullshit. One of them would take charge and just be like, "All right, let's go back to the Citadel," which is what their base was.
Yeah,
What
the
if they're
Citadel
taking
would-
charge while this is happening? Like maybe they wouldn't get back right away because there's like a war going on.
But
out
even
Oh, right.
still,
Well, I'd imagine this. Okay, Del, you didn't consider this. Very clever. How about this? Their warband is disabled. They're disabled, they're trapped, and guess whose fucking territory they're in? They're in Mountain Boy territory.
Yeah.
And they wanted their goddamn gasoline, because Furiosa was supposed to trade them some, I don't know, 3,000 gallons of gas. They're gonna fucking take it from those guys down there.
yeah, but like I said, there were several hundred of them, and
You don't
like
know how
60
many Mountain Boys there are?
No, yeah, but they didn't show that many. They showed like a good handful.
So, could have been budget, damn, man, Del.
But I mean, even way, it was just a semi that was blocking the road. That was it, just a semi. They could have just like hooked 3 winches up and pulled it out of the way.
Yeah, if they had the time to, if they were under attack.
But I mean, it's like it's one of those things where it was like you just left the entire army. You could have blown them up or something with like find an undetonated atomic bomb or something like that and do a cool explosion and drive away from the explosion.
So I'm just fascinated by the different the different colors in the movie, the different factions, the different styles. How many factions were in there? Okay, Imperaton Joe's War Boys, Bullet Town,
5.
Gas Town, Mountain Men,
Desert
Desert Man, Tusken Raiders.
Tusken Raiders
Oh,
and the
yeah,
mother of
so it's
mothers.
And the Mother of Mothers / Volvani.
Yeah.
There's actually
There's
a seventh.
Yeah.
Did you notice the seventh, Del?
Yeah.
The Raven guys.
Yeah,
They
the
showed the
Raven
Raven
guys.
guys
There's
on the
like
stilts,
Raven
yeah.
Swamp Walkers. There was only 2 of them, and they seem more scavengers, not really a war band. But it'd be cool in the video game to run into those guys. I'm not sure how closely the video game is going to be to this movie, or if it's going to be to the original Mad Max's. But I hope it's actually closer to this movie, surprisingly, because I want to interact and see all those different factions in the game. So. Because I watched this movie, I'm more interested in the game. I hope the game turns out all right. And I guess that's it for the spoilers discussion section. Put your own thoughts in the comment section. And we'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show.